Hello then, thank you for watching Daybreak. This is the show that brings you what you need to know and to start off your morning, and we now want to take you to breaking news that the Director of Public Prosecutions, that is Nurdin Haji, has recommended the prosecution of two suspects in the murder of Monica Kimani, that is Joseph Kuria Irungu, alias Joey, as well as Jacqueline Wanjiro Maribe. Just to read the statement that has come from the ODPP is that the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, received a report in respect to the death of Monica Nyawira Kimani that occurred at Lamuria Gardens Apartments, Kitale Lane off Dennis Pritt Road in Kilimani area within Nairobi County on the night of 19th of September 2018. Immediately, that's the DPP constituted a team of prosecutors to guide the DCI officers during investigations, and on the 8th day of October 2018, the DCI forwarded a copy of the police file. Number 3, he says that he has independently reviewed the evidence so far on record, and he is satisfied that there exists a prima facie case to warrant criminal prosecution against the following individuals for the offense of murder, contrary to Section 203, as read with Section 204 of the Penal Code. And those persons are Joseph Kuria Irungu, alias Joey, Jacqueline Wanjiro Maribe, and finally he says that he has therefore directed that they be immediately arraigned before the High Court and charged accordingly. That's the breaking news that we have this morning for the prosecution of Joseph Irungu and Jacqueline Maribe in the alleged murder of Monica Kimani, who was reportedly murdered on the 19th of September 2018, just about slightly over 2 weeks ago. And now this would appear to be the start of the end of this particular investigation that has been ongoing for a couple of weeks. So now the case moves to the High Court. We'll be sure to keep you updated on what transpires in that particular case. And now we want to review the news that has been making headlines, and I'm sure we'll be starting off with that story. And in the panel, we have on my right is the Member of Parliament for Kiminini, that is Chris Omala. Thank you for coming. We have Steve Ogola, lawyer and an analyst on legal, public, and so many other affairs, as well as Gabriel Mutuma, who is also an analyst in public and political affairs. Thank you all for joining us for this morning to discuss on what's been making headlines. And we start with that story that has also gotten some highlight on the dailies. That is, the Daily Nation says that why Maribe will face murder charge, and that is the story that they had sort of gotten heads up of what was going to transpire in as far as the directions that have been given now by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. And that story that is on the front page of Daily Nation continues on page 3, just giving an account of what has been transpiring. The web that has Kasaina, who is a neighbor to where one of the suspects lived, as well as a friend to both key suspects. They talk of how that web has been ongoing. And then on the Standard, there is that story that on the front page of the Standard says police hunt for mystery man in Monica murder, and that story indicates that the police have flown to Mombasa as they follow a lead on a key suspect in that particular case, and also they are still looking for a key weapon, that is a knife that was used to murder Monica Kimani. And now I just want to seek your indulgence, and Steve Ogola, starting with you. We now see that this investigation is proceeding now to the courtroom, but already we have seen a lot of writings about this on the newspapers, in the media. How then do the prosecutors proceed on with the case, as well as the defense, who would want to indicate that they are still innocent despite what has been written about them?
I think, first of all, there's a presumption that state and public officers act in good faith. So if you review the decision to charge by the Director of Public Prosecution, it just means that in his assessment of evidence available, there is what he calls a prima facie case, which means evidence which left unchallenged could lead to the conviction of Jackie and Joey. Now we must preserve that position, because that is the position that he has made after what we call sound prosecutorial judgment. What it then means is that the legal teams of both sides must put their defense together, Jackie and Joey, to fight off those charges. Whatever charges that may be framed, we don't know yet. But if they are charged, of course, the defense will have the unqualified obligation of delinking Jackie Maribe from that offense, and perhaps also delinking Joey insofar as they can. I think one thing that maybe the public might know there is usually a presumption in law that no one is to accuse himself except before the Lord. So it's not necessary for someone to confess, you know. He who alleges must establish.
Right.
And now the prosecution have the unqualified burden to establish the allegations or the offenses for which they are preferred charges.
Right.
So it's going to be one of the usual trials. You know, there are so many trials going on in this country, murder trials going on that are unreported. But it's just because they involve some high-profile personalities. We saw the case of Governor Obado, and now we are seeing the case of Jacque, Maribe, and Joey. Every day, the High Court is hearing murder trials. So this is just any other case. We don't expect much drama out of it. I think now it has been settled. I think the shock that Jacque Maribe could be related to this charge is what I think gave it a lot of profile. But once charged, she'll have to battle it out like any other case. Yes.
Right, and I want to seek your indulgence. I know.
Mine could actually be very pedestrian, but I think, you know, first of all, we begin, you know, at the crossroads where, you know, everybody is presumed innocent until, you know, until proven guilty.
Right.
And moving by that, I'll agree with Wakili when he says, you know, it has received a lot of highlight in our media and everything, just because it's it's dealing with people who are known within the media circles. But the other thing which I think has come out very clear, and this, you know, like I said, it will be very pedestrian. You will look something like the DPP or the DCI. He comes out as somebody who has his ducks in a row at this point. Right. And for him to actually go to the other divide of saying, you know, these two people will be charged with murder, we must assume, or we must, start believing that he has a lot of weapons, not really weapons, I would call them weapons, but he has a lot on his side that will prove his case. And he's come out very clearly. And I know there have been rumors back and forth that Maribe would become a state witness. I was just telling a friend of mine the other day that if that would suffice, it would have actually happened a long time ago, because you're looking at wartime, I mean, at the exactitude of when did she know about the crime, or did she do thereafter. So if the DCA is coming out so strong to say that these people will be charged with murder, is because they have their ducks in a row. Right. And would they need her to become a state witness when they've collected all this evidence, which actually show, you know, when shown against her personality, will they show that she had all this time where she should have entrusted this information with law officers? Did she come into the to the scene of the crime to try and divert, you know, the truth or the elements that were there, which would have made this case easier? So yes. If the DCI has actually gone through a lot of this mound of evidence, and they feel, or they have, you know, a very good stance to charge her, it is because they know they have their ducks in a row. And I've heard so many people saying, you know, she may come in as a state witness. At this point, I don't think so, because, I mean, the DCA would, why do I need her at this point?
Charges.
Yeah, why do I need her at this point? So, I mean, we have, on this one, we have to wait and see how it pans out.
Okay.
In my thinking, I think I'm one of the people who have really been thinking that Jacque Maribe should be a state witness, at least to enjoy the witness protection. And to me, I don't think there's any evidence which has been shown whether she was at the scene of this particular incident. Right. And if you are dating, you're going out with someone and it comes to your house, particularly when someone who has a gun, you can be under duress. And to me, I don't think Jacque Maribe in any way will have been in a position, somebody who has a gun, maybe at such a time now, after the guy is now in, she can be able to come out and give the true story of how the issue was. Right. And by the way, when you report, you know, Jacque did a very good work with you guys of Citizen. But now it's like you've left her on her own. You're no longer even saying one of our own. You're just saying a TV anchor. You know, it's been going through the social media. And this is a lady, we knew about her career. She was doing pretty well. We didn't know about the other part of it, but it's very unfortunate. But with the presumption of innocent until proven guilty, let's wait and see. And because the matter is so active in court, I assume that the DPP has done good work, and maybe he has tight evidence why he's now preferring these murder judges against her. So let's wait and see.
Great, and just to emphasize the point that innocent until proven guilty, just want to take you back to the breaking news now that the probe into Monica Kimani's murder, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, that is the DPP Nuruddin Haji, has recommended prosecution of Joseph Kure Irungu as well as Jacqueline Wanjiru Maribe, and they are saying that this is in relation for the offense of murder, contrary to Section 203, as read with Section 204 of the Penal Code. I just want to take you through that section. 203 of the Penal Code says that any person who of malice aforethought causes death of another person by unlawful act or omission is guilty of murder. And then Section 204 says that any person convicted of murder shall be sentenced to death. So, of course, the case should now proceed on to the High Court. We remember that that is my colleague Jacque Maribe was supposed to appear before court on Thursday, where there will be a hearing on her application for bail.